In an attempt to keep looking at some shmups, this time we're going to be taking a look at M.U.S.H.A for the Sega Genesis and hopefully finding out why it's so expensive. So, most people already know it, but M.U.S.H.A is a very good game. Now, what is it that makes M.U.S.H.A such a good game? Well, in my opinion, M.U.S.H.A takes the best elements of shooters at the time and puts them all into one stylized hype-as-hell package with a screaming metal soundtrack. Now, the first thing that M.U.S.H.A gets right is that presentation. From the second you start playing all the way till the end, M.U.S.H.A's got these little moments of cinematic beauty, these small points and levels where the game just stops throwing enemies at you so it can dazzle you, like when your entire squad gets shot down or the floor falls below you to reveal a river of lava. And M.U.S.H.A's no slouch on the gameplay either. It feels like the designers learned from the mistakes of others when it comes to the actual controls of the game. There's no messing around with any speed power-ups, and you're not just stuck on one speed for your ship. Nah, you can just pause the game whenever you want, and you can adjust the speed of your metallic uniframe super hybrid armor whenever you want. Are you flying back and forth to dodge enemy patterns? Then turn the speed up real quick. You navigating a tight area that requires precision movement? Then bump that meter down, man! By giving the player this sort of autonomy, you remove the artificial difficulty of just kinda having bad controls. Now, one of the reasons I like Darius Gaiden so much is because of the shield power-ups. M.U.S.H.A doesn't have these. M.U.S.H.A, in my opinion anyway, has an even better system. As opposed to having a dedicated shield power-up, M.U.S.H.A uses your secondary weapon as a form of shield. What this means is that if you get hit while you have a secondary weapon equipped, instead of blowing up, all that happens is your armor breaks off and you lose the secondary shot you had. This is brilliant on multiple levels. Not only does it allow the player the ability to mess up and learn from their mistakes, it still punishes you by removing your firepower. This almost always leads to a mad rush to get to the next power-up so that you aren't left naked on the battlefield. No!
Oh my god! I died right on top of the power-up.
But even if you don't have a secondary weapon, you've still got a few tricks up your sleeve. You've got these two little friends that not only provide a great offense, but also a great defense. Yes, of course they can fire at enemies, but they'll also take a bullet for you. They aren't invincible though. If they sustain too much damage, they'll go haywire and explode. They also aren't unlimited. You collect them from these pods that float down from the top of the screen every so often, and it is absolutely crucial that you pick up as many of them as possible. They make the final battles so much easier. Which reminds me, the boss design in this game is fantastic. Every boss has a creepy face on it that gives me the vibe that you aren't just blowing up vehicles, you're blowing up living things. My personal favorite, of course, is this No mask. There's so much detail on her face. Oh, she gives me the creeps. Hell, even the normal enemies are great. I love this chubby man who splits in half when you kill him, or how about these mouse-eared dudes who fly in from behind you, then come back from the front? I think the most memorable for me are these guys from the last stage. They may not look like much, but they fire an indestructible heat-seeking missile that's really hard to avoid. You definitely want to take these guys out before they fire. Okay, obviously the music is hot. It almost goes without saying. The soundtrack to M.U.S.H.A will have you slamming your head, shaking your hair, and getting you pumped up. I remember I used to just listen to the soundtrack whenever I had an essay to write in high school. I don't know, something about that hard Genesis metal gave me the strength to bang out those psych papers so I could get back to playing more video games. So what about the difficulty? Well, for the most part, M.U.S.H.A is a pretty relaxed shoot 'em up. I mean, don't get me wrong, it definitely picks up on the last two levels, but the journey as a whole isn't that bad on the default difficulty. I really think this could be a great game to get people into shooters. It's not doing anything insane that would be difficult to master, and the game is very straightforward. However, bump that difficulty up to hard, and M.U.S.H.A's pretty tough. I ended up losing on the final level and using continues, and my god was that a trial in itself. It ended up taking me like an hour to be able to get through the last level without any power-ups. You literally start with nothing, and you have to play perfectly if you want to get past the mid-boss. Like, there's actually nothing you can do if you don't play perfectly up to him. But after a while, I was eventually able to do it and get that extra nice hard mode ending. I mean, the game may boast 3 different endings, but they're pretty much all the same. So initially, this is where I wanted to talk about the ending, but after finally beating it, I decided that that's not what I want to do. It took me about 8 years to finally sit down and beat this game on hard, and I gotta say, it left me with a heavy feeling inside. I felt like I'd overcome this monumental task that I never thought I'd be able to accomplish. But once I finally did, it made me realize that that's what's so great about shoot 'em ups. It's not about how good or bad the ending may be, or how good or bad you are. I mean, hell, it took me like 15 continues just to beat the game on hard. No, it's about the satisfaction of seeing the ending for the first time by actually playing through the entire game. And that's a feeling that just can't be replaced by anything else. Watching that final cutscene and seeing the credits roll as you sit there, heart still beating like crazy, controllers in hand, throat sore from shouting at the TV like a lunatic, that's the feeling of beating a hard game, and there's really nothing else like it. If nothing else comes of this channel, I can at least be happy that it got me to sit down and play some amazing treasures from the past. It really is a tragedy that the Sega Genesis is the only way to legally play this game. Now that the M.U.S.H.A channel is gone, there's no way to play M.U.S.H.A digitally anymore. And with the price only getting higher and higher online, most people won't be able to enjoy this game. I was lucky enough to get my copy a few years ago before things got too out of hand, but how are future generations going to be able to play games like this? The best we can do is hope that someday it'll get a digital release again, maybe on the Switch or Steam, but until then, I'm Andrew Bofner, and I'll see you all next time!